That was both a satisfying snap and a satisfying bev. And yes, I am drinking coffee and lemon soda water at the same time, because it's just one of those days. So here I am at work on a Saturday because this weekend is quite possibly the busiest weekend of my annual career, i.e. year would be the normal human way to say that. Because yesterday was Good Friday, tomorrow is Easter, and for those of you who don't know, those are two of quite possibly the biggest holidays in the church calendar. The other big one obviously being ye old ho 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 Christmas, except minus the ho ho ho, usually. Anyway, we had 2 services last night for Good Friday. We've got 3 services tomorrow morning for Easter, and I didn't want to take the time last night at like 9:30 to do all of the transition and set up for tomorrow, and so I decided to come in today and make that happen. So I've got some renderings happening in the background on that computer, and I've got some light setup happening right here on this computer for that stage right there. Check this out. It goes up and down, except that was backwards, but it doesn't really matter. And I am just kind of waiting. So I think most people in this world at least have a passing knowledge of what Easter is, setting aside all of the bunnies and candy and eggs and whatever other secular nonsense there is. It is the day that we in the church celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Good Friday, a little bit less well known, I think, but is the day that we commemorate Christ's death on the cross. But sandwiched right in between them, right here today on Saturday, is the last day of Lent. It's something that anyone who grew up in a liturgical church knows an awful lot about, and it's something that pretty much everyone else knows very, very little about, except for the fact that it means that there's Filet-O-Fishes at McDonald's for like the past 40 days, and no one's quite sure why. Full disclosure, I did not grow up in a liturgical church. I am very, very, very Protestant. I'm throwing around a lot of churchy terms, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. However, Lent is one of those very Catholic things that is sort of held on in culture, despite the fact that the Protestant church was like, heck to the nah, we don't like any of your sacraments and whatnot. Long story short, the whole idea of this 40-day period leading up to Easter is to fast in order to focus one's mind on God and on Jesus Christ and on what he did on Good Friday and Easter. Of course, most people think of fasting as giving up food. In the Catholic Church, it was usually interpreted to mean giving up meat, and that's why fish is so popular right now, because that doesn't officially qualify as meat in the Catholic Church, and vegetarianism, may have spoken out of turn there about vegetarianism, I don't necessarily know. Side point. But fasting can really honestly be anything that one would give up in order to give oneself more time to focus on one's faith. Did not expect it to take me 5 minutes of recording time to get to the main point of this video. My point is this. I started participating in Lent more recently in my life, I think around high school or the end of high school, and I haven't done it every year, but probably, 5 out of the past 7 years, I have chosen to give something up in the spring leading up toward Easter. Here's the problem. I have, as I think many people have, fallen prey to the idea that I should just give up something I want to give up anyway. Something that I know is good for me, something that I've really been trying to give up, but it's just hard to get that motivation. So I'm like, oh, hey, here's a religious thing. I can take that little package and I can shove my social media addiction into it. And then I can just say, hey, I did this for you, God, and be happy about it. And I say social media addiction because I genuinely think 3 or 4 of those times, I chose to give up Facebook. The problem is, I don't care about that at all. While I still get on it occasionally, it's really just completely rote habit. And so I would look at that habit in my life and look at the idea of Lent and say, well, why don't I use this as a good excuse to break myself of that habit because it's something I don't want anyway. And my, oh my, how wrong was that philosophy. The very idea of Lent is that one should give up something so fundamental to day-to-day life that the very absence of it creates a void, so that that void can then be filled with a renewed vigor in devotion and faith and commitment to pursuing Christ. And if the void that I'm making is this big because it's something that I don't give any time or effort or thought to anyway, there's not a whole lot of room to fill my life up with what's important. So whether I was giving up Facebook or giving up cookies, I think I did one year, or giving up miscellaneous candy, I found myself continually, year after year, creating this minuscule gap in my life that instead of turning toward God, I just did whatever else I wanted to do. I read more books is usually what happened around Lent every single year. And while I appreciate the fact that I got through more books, and while I looked at myself and thought, oh, I'm happier here at the end of these 40 days because I've gotten rid of some bad habits, my, how wrong I was. Now, in a bit of a distinct shift from the usual pattern of this channel, I don't want to tell you what I'm doing this year. That's not the point of Lent and fasting. It sort of defeats the point, and that is for me. But what I want to encourage you to do is to think about something in your life that you could really, truly give up that would hurt you, that would leave a gap, that would leave you wanting for something more, and then fill that more with the one thing that really, truly satisfies. It's gonna leave you uncomfortable, it's gonna leave you scratching your head sometimes during the day, wondering what on earth should I do for these 45 minutes that I would be doing that other thing. That's kind of the whole point. Now I think my rendering files are almost done, so I should probably go. I'll see you guys next week. Deuces.